But guess what? Devonte Wyatt. Oh, he's talking. He's talking, folks. Devonte Wyatt, D-lineman for the Green Bay Packers. Here's what he had to say about pressure.
They're a quick pass team. They get the ball. He see his read. He's throwing it. If we get that pressure in his face real fast and throw it off, he going to overthrow or underthrow it, and that's like a pick opportunity or anything. And he's low with the ball, so we can bat the ball down a lot.
What's the point of saying something like that?
One more time.
They're a quick pass team. They get the ball. He see his read. He's throwing it. If we get that pressure in his face real fast and throw it off, he going to overthrow or underthrow it, and that's like a pick opportunity or anything. And he's low with the ball, so we can bat the ball down a lot.
We are so late in the season. Most teams understand, unless it's some crazy rivalry where there's been, years of built-up rage amongst the two teams. The point of talking and trying to give bulletin board material, which I know we don't do bulletin boards anymore, group thread material is so useless. It's so useless. And I'm glad that the Niners, this week have been pretty quiet and are just playing it close to the vest. Because there really isn't much to be said. Like, they did it with Philly. They talked a lot of trash. They went out there and backed it up. I'll give it to them. They went out there and backed it up. But since then, they've been kind of quiet, the Niners, and I'm glad. I would rather be the team quietly focused internally on what we can do as opposed to, saying things out into the ethos that you better back up. You better back that up, young man.
Well, Devonte Wyatt is a right defensive end for the Green Bay Packers. And they run a 3-4 under Joe Barry. But he'll be lined up at times over Aaron Banks and Trent Williams. So if I'm Wyatt, I would be careful because doubles are coming. And when Trent Williams comes down and blocks on you, and he comes down for a down block and they double and he peels off to a linebacker, you will get crushed, my man. This may be a long game for Devonte Wyatt. They're going to run at him at will. So you better buckle up your chin strap. That's the pressure he should be worried about.
Is this the healthiest Trent Williams has been going into the playoffs for the Niners?
He's so damn healthy. Yesterday, he said he's coming back for next season.
That, by the way, that made me the most happy because I think of all the positions, like Kelsey's leaving and finding a center is extremely difficult. I'm not diminishing it. Losing one of the greatest left tackles the game has ever seen, really difficult to replace.
Yeah, no, so he'll be back next season. He's feeling good. And now he's going to be feeling angry after hearing that from Mr. Wyatt with the Green Bay Packers.
In part, why they've fallen short the last couple of years is Trent's just been exhausted toward the end of the year. High ankle sprain he's dealt with, where he's gotten rolled up a couple of times, where he couldn't even move. I do believe that Rams game, he was so compromised. I mean, he could barely move. And then they tried to do that, him shifting over to try as a tight end, as an eligible, and whap and stuff. He couldn't even move. Yep. He couldn't even move on that famous third and short where they gave it to Juszczyk.
Well, Rocco and I watched him walk out the tunnel at SoFi Stadium, and he didn't run out the tunnel as well. I looked at him running out the house and said, boy. Yeah, well, you kind of knew during the Green Bay game, but then when you watched him run out that tunnel, you're like, oh, boy.
Not good.
That's not good.
Yeah.
And he had an extra day to get rest after that because they beat the Packers on the Saturday, the Rams beat the Bucs on the Sunday morning, so they had the extra day to play that NFC title game. Yeah, that was rough. 888-957-9570. Who has the most to prove to you this weekend? Let's open it up for the entire playoffs. Not just the Niners and Packers. But if you want to just stick with the quarterbacks, who has the most to prove this weekend at the quarterback position?
It's crazy to say. Like, Lamar, he's going to win 2 MVPs. He's like 27, 28 years old. He's got a lot of pressure, too. Just got the big contract. Not that he's going to lose his job. Not that they're not going to, he's not going to be an all-time Raven franchise player. I feel like he has a lot to... You can't lose to the Texans.
A lot to prove, huh?
I just think... I think he does, unfortunately. And it sucks because I love watching him, but there's that playoff cloud over him the way A-Rod and Bonds and Peyton had this for a long time. Like, you got to do... Steve Young had this. You got to do it in the playoffs.
What about Josh Allen? What about Josh Allen, who has a home game against Mahomes? Mahomes, this is fascinating. Mahomes is going on the road for the first time in his postseason career outside of the Super Bowl.
I'm taking Mahomes.
Ooh.
I'm taking Mahomes in that one. I'm taking Mahomes. I can't bet against them. I know they don't look like the better team. And I feel like for Josh Allen, why do I feel like if they lose, it won't be a Josh Allen's fault. It will be a McDermott fault, which I don't know if I believe in. Because when Allen is on, they win. Now, yes, he's asked to do a lot. Like, it's unfair. He's asked to do so much.
That Chiefs defense is pretty good.
I know.
I
like the Chiefs in this game.
Ladarius Sneed is playing at a very good level. Steve Spagnuolo, he can't be a head coach in this league, but as a defensive coordinator, you're not going to find many better than him.
I agree.
His game plans are always on point.
He finds these linebackers and D linemen out of nowhere. Bolton is a beast.
Yeah, their defense is young, but they're flying around.
Who do you like?
And they are the defending Super Bowl champions. So they've been here before.
Who do you like in that game?
Buffalo has lulls that, you looked at Pittsburgh Steelers, they were in that football game, and they got off to an atrocious start.
Mason Rudolph is the quarterback.
Right. I mean, but they fumbled punts.
Yes.
George Pickens fumbled in that football game. He was going crazy by the end of the game. They didn't have TJ Watt. And yet, that was a football game going into the fourth quarter. I lean Chiefs too. It's
hard to take. I feel like they're in the Pats zone where I have to give them the benefit of the doubt in every game till they get knocked off. And by the way, you want to talk to one guy? I do not want to see if we ever advance to the Super Bowl, I do not want to see Mahomes at all. I want nothing to do with them.
I tell you what, whether it's Mahomes, whether it's Allen, whether it's Lamar, whether it's CJ Stroud, there's no easy out.
No, that I agree with.
No easy out.